So recently I came across a new movie trailer for a movie called Long Story Short. As I watched the trailer, it brought another movie to mind. A movie that you may remember. From 2006, called Click. The greatest Adam Sandler movie of all time. Long Story Short is a movie about an average guy whose priorities are way off and is always putting off the things that are important to the other people in his life. Then, through some magical means or otherwise, ends up skipping large portions of his life, culminating in missing his children growing up and losing his wife. Then on the other hand, you have Click, which is a movie about an average guy whose priorities are off, and is always putting off the things that are important to the other people in his life. Then, through some magical means or otherwise, ends up skipping large portions of his life, culminating in missing his children growing up and losing his wife. Obviously, this is a vast simplification of a movie that came out in 2006, and one that, as of this recording, isn't even released yet. But fuck you, this is just an excuse to talk about Click, the movie Adam Sandler really should have won an Oscar for, not Uncut Gems. Like a lot of white guys in movies and TV these days, Sandman plays an architect, always too busy to spend any real time with his family. We get introduced in the first few scenes to Michael's family, including the real heart of the film, Henry Winkler, who plays Michael's father, Ted. Click does a pretty decent job of setting up a couple little bits in the movie that they call back to later on to illustrate some of the things Michael's missed after the remote started fast forwarding. Like the fact there's a tree house sitting outside that he promised he'd build for his children and remained unfinished for the first 6 years that Michael fast forwards. There are a couple recurring bits throughout Click, with the two most notable being the way Michael bullies the neighbor kid Kevin Doyle and Henry Winkler's coin trick. Kevin is played by Cameron Monaghan, who legitimately commits super hard to the character and does a really good job. He's played as a bit of a bully, but seems to be friends with Ben in some capacity, even attending the sleepover later in the film. They pretty much show us the fact that his parents just attempt to buy his love, and don't really pay much attention to him. But it's a point that never really is fully played out. Realistically, he is from the type of family Michael has always wanted, but the movie is telling us he shouldn't try for, as it's not a happy one. I would have been interested to see if they'd put Kevin in maybe at Ben's wedding, and just hammered home that he just grew up to be an unhappy adult because of the way he was raised, and that the money his parents had didn't make him any happier than Michael's loving parents did. But the movie isn't going to do anything that complex, so we got what we got, I suppose. The second notable running bit is Michael's father performing a simple magic trick involving a trick coin, biting it in half and then restoring it. This movie does a good job of conveying to the viewer why Winkler does the trick, as he feels it brings joy and a sense of whimsy to his family. So as Michael watches as on autopilot, he destroys that joy in his father's mind. It breaks him.
Don't you want to know
How you do this stupid trick? I've always known. Can you let me do my work?
You've always known. You're pathetic.
And Morty tells him,
I'm sorry about your father. Taking him wasn't something I wanted to do.
he's basically just kicking him while he's down. But speaking of Morty, Christopher Walken's Morty steals pretty much every scene that he is in, while effectively just playing himself. The reveal that he is an angel of death isn't really a huge surprise, but the moment it is revealed has a large amount of emotional weight. Michael learning that Morty was the one who personally reaped his father just kind of adds another thing on top of all of the anger and the pain of feeling helpless in the situation that he's in, with everything that has happened with his life after losing control to the automatic fast forward. Presumably, Michael just wants the whole ordeal to end, or at least something to bring him out of his despair, and asks the remote to just take him to a good place. After Michael has a heart attack at Ben's wedding and ends up in hospital, you see the only thing in this movie that I just can't suspend disbelief for. And with this being a movie about a divine remote that allows you to pretty much control the fabric of reality, that's saying something. This fucking guy, I can't get over how absolutely batshit the outfit is for a Shum, the nurse. Like, what the fuck sort of hairpiece is he wearing? What is this blue plastic shit on his head? But I'm still glad to see that Colin Farrell is such an icon that he manages to get this future twink excited enough for Michael to shove a giant needle directly into his heart, potentially and maybe hopefully killing him. I mean, this character was played by the director Frank Coraci, so I presume he was the one that decided on almost every aspect of this outfit. Considering he's directed a large number of Sandler movies, from Waterboy to Ridiculous 6, clearly he isn't always going to be making the greatest decisions. Overall, rewatching the movie to make this video, I was reminded why as a kid I really liked it. This was something my siblings and I rented multiple times from the local Blockbuster, while that was still a thing, obviously. Click is not really a super subtle or nuanced movie about just the general overall message. Happiness isn't always about money, and that people should seek to spend time with loved ones and make their own happiness, rather than putting it off with the goal of spending that time later after you've made yourself more comfortable, because that grind just never ends. Or maybe I'm just an idiot and this is a shit take. Thanks for watching.